Hi, this is Patrick from Fall Out Boy, and you're watching No Good Fucking Television.
Hi! Okay, so this isn't my typical setup, mostly because my usual setup is no setup at all. So I have to work with what I have right now. Okay, so originally this video was supposed to be filmed at Pismo Beach because shut up. But I had some issues involving me being sick. So now I just decided I'm going to film this at my aunt's house. Yeah. Okay, so as you all know, ever since I started my channel, and well, it's pretty obvious that my channel is just me being a Patrick Stubbs stan. Well, obviously, Fall Out Boy is always going to be my favorite band. However, I have something to somewhat confess. Not only was I a Fall Out Boy fan when I was much younger, a kid, but I used to like Weezer, like a lot, and then somehow it vanished and I had to rediscover it. Okay, I know that sounds weird, but stay with me now. I guess you could say that I used to be just a casual fan of Weezer. Until I wasn't, and then Hella Megatour came, and I had to rediscover my love for Weezer that once used to be there. The same way, I had to go back and re-love Fall Out Boy because they've been gone for so long. So, little me, used to like Weezer and Fall Out Boy. So, keep in mind that the radio at the time was only my only source of musical entertainment. I didn't have an MP3, although I did get an iPod for a while, but I don't know where the hell that thing went. But as soon as 2010 hit, I didn't hear any Weezer for a very long time. The last time I finally got to listen to Weezer was in 2017, when Boy song I've ever heard on the radio came on, the only saving grace that had to fix my sanity was a Weezer song. I have a severe hatred for the song Champion. I hate Champion with a passion. It's the only song on Mania that I desperately hate with a passion. And you know what Weezer song pretty much kinda saved my sanity from absolutely hating Fall Out Boy even more? Was one of Weezer's worst songs. Feels Like Summer. What the fuck? What the fuck? The worst song of Fall Out Boy I hate, but the worst song from Weezer from 2017 I actually don't hate. What is wrong with me? So, you're probably wondering, why the hell am I rambling about this? Well, despite this being more of a Fall Out Boy focused channel due to my channel icon and my channel name, I work in productions, which is I write arms races, not G-notes. Arms races, Fall Out Boy. However, I am going to somewhat talk about Weezer because it's my channel, so shut up. So, I'm going to pretty much do a weird analysis on an album. So that was my original plan that I was going to do on Pismo Beach, because it involves, well, not beach related. If you're wondering whether or not I was originally going to cover an analysis video on the White Album, no, that's not correct. Although I do want to do an analysis video on the White Album, which to me is significantly better than most of the modern Weezer albums from the 2010s. Sorry, everything will be alright in the end, but the White Album wins for me. No, I am going to be analyzing a more recent, work or project from Weezer, and that is Sznz. I'm going to be doing an analysis on Sznz. I know this sounds strange that I was going to do an analysis video on Sznz on a beach, but that was my original plan anyway, so what am I analyzing? Well, let's see. No, they already did that. No. Depression, no. They did that already. Wait a minute. Existential horror. You didn't see that coming, did ya? So, yeah, Sznz has a large emphasis on existential horror. More specifically, existential dread. You don't believe me? Well, you probably may have heard some of these lyrics. I'm this one. Or this one. Or, I don't know, maybe this one. So yeah, Existential Dread in a Weezer project. It is quite experimental though. So you're probably wondering that I'm just going to nitpick on the lyrics. Not really, I'm just going to be nitpicking the themes of each season. For example, okay, this is basically my theory or opinion on seasons, or at least what I think Rivers was trying to explain to everyone, as well as his view on criticism, I guess. So my guess is that spring is supposed to represent hope, summer is supposed to represent resentment, not rage or whatever the hell Rivers was trying to explain. Autumn states as anxiety. Okay, that's quite normal there. Okay, that one can stay. And winter, that one is very interesting to me. Because it's not depression, it's what I had mentioned earlier, existential dread. The whole theme of seasons is existential dread. You just haven't heard it. Or really understood it because you're just focused on what Rivers said, but didn't think it would be translated well. No, it's there. It's not the melody that's supposed to represent the themes. It's the lyrics. How has no one figured this one out yet? It's right there. So, I guess we should just start with, maybe spring. I love spring. Well, the season. Well, no, not seasons. Spring. Okay, that sounds kind of sounds like I'm criticizing spring, but I love the season spring because it's warm and it's not too cold and it's not too hot. I'm a summer baby. I was born in the summer, but I hate summer because of how hot it is, but I prefer spring because it's warmer. It's breezier, and it just feels nice outside. It's not too bad. But, okay. Spring is a bit difficult for me to analyze because I know it's supposed to represent hope in a way. But I'm going to try my best. I don't think I'm going to get this right. Please don't get angry with me. This is my first time analyzing a Weezer project. More specifically, an EP. 4 EPs that came out the same fucking year of last year. give me a break here. So, as I mentioned earlier, I don't know how to properly analyze spring, but from what I've listened to throughout spring is, well, it's about hope. That's all I have to say, right? Maybe, maybe not. However, apart from listening to a lot of the biblical references and feelings of hope, I'm beginning to get the sense that maybe it's not about hope, but it's instead some form of maybe false hope, since a lot of the lyrics actually talk about loneliness and feeling found, or at least you think. But yeah, apart from themes of love and all that stuff, I'm not entirely sure if I would classify false hope as actual hope. But yeah, aside from maybe a little bit of love, but the rest of the other songs, they do have that same theme that I mentioned. Although I'm beginning to think that maybe it is false hope, and I was probably wrong. So, yeah, I guess we should just maybe move on to summer, I guess. So, I couldn't actually explain spring very well. So, guess we move on to summer. As I mentioned earlier, I don't like summer that much. The season summer, not seasons summer. I am confusing myself again, aren't I? So, summer is a bit of an interesting one, because it's about resentment, not rage, which are completely different things. Resentment is a type of hate, whereas rage is just an emotion part of anger. I really should have read a dictionary before I filmed this part. Oops. So, I guess we could just move on to summer, I guess. If I had to describe summer in one word, it would probably be self-resentment, I guess. These songs are a bit different than the ones you probably expected. Although Rivers did say that a lot of summer is about rage, it's definitely not. It's more or less just him having a self-reflection on his own resentment of himself. And I think I may have figured out the true meaning of the most annoying song on Summer Records, and it's resentment. Resentment and his view on criticism, how he views criticism, and how he views himself. And I think Summer is very interesting. Mostly because doesn't even mention anything about resentment. And I get that people got angry when he said that summer is sort of like a return to form like old Weezer. But for some, they actually thought it was 90s Weezer, like Blue Album Pinkerton. But more or less, I think he meant more of early 2000s Weezer, Green Album, Melodroid, and maybe even Make Believe. Again, it's not the melody that's supposed to sound like old Weezer. It's the lyrics. And I think it does make a bit more sense for Summer to sound not like what you think. Because what's important is not the melody. It's the lyrics, not the sound. And I get that people got a bit upset by this, but it actually makes more sense, to be honest. I could talk all day about summer and how I may have figured it out, but I guess we can actually move on to autumn afterwards. Finally, we get to move on to autumn. My favorite season of seasons. Weezer season. How do you say seasons autumn without confusing the word seasons and seasons? Let's just move on to autumn. Finally, I get to talk about autumn, my favorite season of seasons. And I have a lot to talk about with seasons, well, autumn. And first off, I like that there's a story behind this one. It's sort of narrative. And there seems to be like 3 characters that are very much important within autumn that pretty much gives us a sort of narrative about anxiety and how Rivers has been feeling recording autumn. So first off, we have Rivers, which is the ego, and God, which is basically the superego or his subconscious, trying to calm him down and telling him that things are going to be okay. And the third character, which I'm assuming is a female character, is the thing that he actually wants to do, or what he actually thinks he wants to do. And it's a very interesting way to write about anxiety and the little story behind it, but I kind of wanted to chime in here myself a little bit and pretty much just talk about my own experience with anxiety and how autumn basically sort of helped me a bit over these past couple of months. Mostly because half a year ago I actually moved out of my parents' house to pretty much get away from the toxic environment, and mostly because of the toxic relationship I had with my mom, who I don't know how to actually talk about it, but it's really hard for me to pretty much come in here and talk about it, I guess. So, about several months ago, I was having terrible panic attacks and whatnot, and I felt like the world was completely meaningless, more or less. I was in a very, very, very bad place. And I guess I really don't know how to explain this, but my anxiety was really, really bad. Almost detrimentally bad for my health. I was very mentally unhealthy and very exhausted from being in that house that I didn't actually come back to YouTube because I was not mentally sound. So I guess Sznz sort of helped me a bit with how I was feeling. So, sorry I got a little bit too personal here, but I guess that's pretty much how I actually felt when I heard Sznz Autumn. But I'm getting a bit ahead of myself. Maybe we should just move on to winter. Yeah, sorry I got a bit too personal while talking about autumn. Yeah, so let's just move on to winter. Existentialism. That's the one thing I have to describe about winter. And yeah, there's a lot of existential themes within winter, such as questioning your own mortality, your own self, and basically why you're actually here in the first place. It's very existential, and there's a level of existential dread within this one small EP of Sznz. It's the last seasons of Sznz, and yeah, it pulls off all the last stops, and it's very, very existentially depressing. It's not depression that's the main theme of winter. It's the worry of your own, existence. It's the existential dread that we all ask ourselves but never want to ask it out loud. And fear of what we might actually find out, or I guess we don't really want to answer the question of why do we exist? Why are we here, and why do we have to die, in a way? It's one of those things that I didn't think I would be asking myself. Why is this so existentially horrifying? To me, it's by far Weezer's most terrifying, themes that I've actually had to, I don't know how to explain this because it's so confusing and so complex, but winter is the somewhat definition of what existential horror is. I went on a journey, didn't I? I went on a bit of a tangent on winter, not in a bad way, but in a more exploratorial way. I really went on a existential crisis while trying to listen to the entirety of Sznz from start to finish, and trying to analyze every bit of the theme of that season. So, guessing this is how we're going to end winter off. Sznz is, for lack of better terms, it's a journey of one's own mental state. In a way, it's like a cycle. One season starts, the other ends, and so on and so forth, but no matter what season ends, it's always gonna start over again. So, I really don't know how to end this video. I went through some sort of journey that made me open a door that I've kept locked for so many years. My anxiety and whatnot. So yeah, that's my not in-depth analysis on Sznz, just my overall analysis on Weezer's Sznz. Hopefully, once I start doing another analysis video, I don't end up getting this emotional. I'm not making any promises, but